What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be ranking my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2023. And before you guys say, wait, Carson, you're a couple months late on this recording, I don't care, okay? Most of the movies on this list haven't came out yet at the time of this recording, so I hope y'all enjoy this video. In number 10, we have Fast X. Okay, don't click off the video because I know some of y'all just don't like the Fast and Furious movies. I understand that. I'm one of those people who kind of wish the franchise ended after the 7th one, especially with, that was when Paul Walker passed away. But I think Fast X is going to be a step in the right direction because I think Fast 8, or Fate of the Furious and the 9th Fast and Furious movie was just so over the top. I think this one's a little more grounded. Don't get me wrong, this is still going to be an over the top movie. I just think it's going to be a step in the right direction, especially because this is like the beginning of the end of the Fast and Furious franchise. We just have Fast X and then the 11th one, and then the franchise is going to be over. I actually have a lot of hope for this movie. Fast and Furious franchise has been a franchise I've loved my whole life. In number 9, we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So I'm more like curious than anything about this movie, and it's because in the trailer you see Miles Morales being chased by like every Spider-Man imaginable, which I think obviously is just going to be super cool, but I keep thinking like, what did he do for him to be in that much trouble? He's like level 6 wanted if it was GTA 5. I don't know, I just think this movie is just going to be so fun. The first one was so creative and looks so cool. It's something you can really only do with this sort of style. But in number 8, we have Air. So this movie is about Nike's effort on trying to sign Michael Jordan. And at first I was like, oh, that's a cool movie. But then I watched the trailer and I just got so excited for this movie. You have Matt Damon as Sonny Vaccaro. You have Ben Affleck as Phil Knight. I just think this is going to be an awesome movie. And I just think about like, for me and many other guys out there, they probably had a phase where they were just obsessed with Air Jordan shoes. So the fact that we get to see a movie about this, it's going to be really fun. In number 7, we have Dune Part 2. So I loved the first Dune movie. It feels like a true adult sci-fi movie, if that makes sense. And my biggest complaint with the first one is that it kind of just ends weirdly. So I'm so glad we're getting a Part 2. And at least in the first one, you're just so immersed in the world, and that's why I'm just so excited for the second one. The director of this movie is one of my favorite directors. Timothée Chalamet as Paul Atreides is just really cool. There's just so much to be excited for with this movie. In number 6, we have Oppenheimer. I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan. He has made some of my favorite movies of all time, and even the movies that I don't absolutely love that he's made, there's still movies that I can really appreciate, like Memento or Tenet, for example. The reason I don't have this like number 1 on my list is because I just don't really know much about how Mr. Oppenheimer created the atomic bomb, and I am really excited, I guess, to learn about that through watching this movie. The cast for this movie also is incredible. Like, one of the best casts for a movie I have ever seen. Me and my friends are gonna go watch Oppenheimer and Barbie on the same day, opening day. It's gonna be amazing.
Oh, these aren't homemade. They were made in a factory. A bomb factory. They're bomb.
In number 5, we have The Flash. So I am one of those many people who have been super skeptical with this movie, especially when you consider like the infinite problems that happened when creating this movie and all the stuff that happened with Ezra Miller. But after seeing that latest trailer that came out around the time of the Super Bowl, oh my gosh, that trailer was one of the craziest trailers I've ever seen. I didn't really think they would do like a true multiverse with this movie, but that's what they're doing. You have Ben Affleck Batman, Michael Keaton Batman. I genuinely think they're going to do a really good job with Supergirl. This just looks absolutely insane. He's literally like messing up the future and the past. I don't know what to think. I am still a little bit skeptical, obviously, but part of me thinks this has the potential to be one of the best superhero movies in recent years. In number 4, we have John Wick Chapter 4. John Wick is becoming one of my favorite movie franchises of all time, at least like action franchises. And it's crazy to me how Keanu Reeves and Tom Cruise are a part of 2 of the best action franchises right now, because they're both like 60 years old. And you can tell Keanu Reeves gives 100% in every action scene. I think John Wick Chapter 4 has the potential to be the best John Wick movie because, for one, it's the longest. But the main reason is because they just keep adding to the lore in every John Wick movie, and I think if they do it right, it will cause this one to be the best. These movies are also just so visually appealing. Like, every scene, you just feel so glued to the screen. Gosh, I'm excited. Before I give you all my top 3, I want to give a couple quick honorable mentions. These are movies that I'm still extremely excited for. It just didn't make the top 10 list. This is a crazy year for movies. By the way, the honorable mentions aren't in any order. The Covenant. This is Guy Ritchie's newest movie, and Jake Gyllenhaal as the star. He's one of my favorite actors. This is like one of those military movies that I'm assuming is just gonna hit and feel very real when you're watching. I'm excited for this movie. Next, we have Tetris. So how Tetris came to be is actually a pretty crazy story, so I'm kind of excited to see it as a movie. I also really like Tetris. I like Taron Egerton. I think this will be a fun movie. Next, we have Barbie. I feel like I have to say this because me and a bunch of friends are going to watch this the same day after watching Oppenheimer, and we love Ryan Gosling, and Margot Robbie's one of the hottest women ever. Next, we have the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Don't get me wrong, like I am excited for this movie. There's just so many movies this year to be excited for. This just didn't make the top 10. I'm one of those people where Mario wasn't a staple of my childhood like it was for most people. I still like Mario. I also think this movie's not gonna be as good as people think. I'm hoping I'm wrong because I want this to be a good movie. With the last honorable mention, Transformers: Rise of the Beast. I just think this will be an okay movie, but it'll look great. I'm someone who loved Transformers as a kid, so I'll probably see this in theaters, but definitely not on my top 10 for most anticipated. In number 3, we have Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So for those of you who don't know, Indiana Jones is one of my favorite just like characters of all time. And the first 3 Indiana Jones movies are just a staple of my childhood, so obviously it's really exciting to get a 5th one. The thing I'm skeptical about is Harrison Ford's like 80 years old. I know this is going to be a really fun movie. I'm just worried that some of the action isn't going to look too good, or if it does look good, it's going to be way too much CGI. I know Steven Spielberg's not the director, which doesn't bother me because the director is James Mangold, which for those of you who don't know, he directed Ford vs. Ferrari and Logan, which are 2 amazing movies. So I think that's one reason I'm so excited for this film. Indiana Jones, I love that character, so I'm excited for this movie. Fun in number 2, runner-up, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So I think this movie has the potential to be just as good as the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Probably not better, but just as good. And the reason I say that is because this is going to be the last time we see some of these characters. So does that mean that they die? And I'm assuming yes. And if that's the case, you just know it's going to be an emotional punch because so many people love the Guardians of the Galaxy and they love that group. And to think about that group without some of the characters is just kind of heartbreaking for a lot of fans. I do think I'm one of those people who thinks Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was like a slight misstep. I still really like that movie. It wasn't anywhere close to the first. And I have a lot of hope in James Gunn that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will be just as good as the first Guardians of the Galaxy. In our number 1 slot, we have Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. This is seriously one of my favorite franchises of all time. I love every one of these movies. Tom Cruise is one of my favorite actors. So one thing that's just crazy about this franchise is every movie is better than the last, which like doesn't feel possible now. I still think the 7th one is going to be better than the 6th, and the 6th is better than the 5th, and so on. The only thing is like the second one's not as good as the first, but forget about that. I think this franchise is just crazy. You know, Tom Cruise is 60 years old now, and he's still doing some unbelievable stunts. You know, he spent a year trying to learn how to ride a motorcycle off a cliff. These are real stunts done by Tom Cruise, not a stunt double. It's Tom Cruise. I just love how, you know, it's a spy movie. It's so suspenseful. It's so cool. There's actually like funny humor. There's just perfect movies in my opinion. When you think about how successful Top Gun Maverick was last year and how heavily involved Tom Cruise was with that movie, it makes me think. I think this is going to be on that same level. I'm so excited. All right, y'all. That's my top 10 most anticipated movies of the year. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing if you're new, and I'll see you next time.